let's move on to our first main topic today. And our first main topic today gets submitted to us by Clark Washington, who writes, "Woo! Jumanji The Next Level opened this weekend to 60 million. This marks an improvement over the last Jumanji's 3-day opening take of 36.1 million. The question now is, how will it do long term, considering that unlike the last film, which opened after the release of the Star Wars film, this time it's going into the opening of the Star Wars film?" All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yes, for those of you who may not have seen it, the Jumanji, I call it Jumanji 2. Some people will call it Jumanji 3, whatever. I call it Jumanji 2. Jumanji, The Next Level, which I really quite enjoyed. I did my review of it last week. I quite enjoyed this movie. Not quite as good as the first one, but I quite enjoyed it. I had a really good time with it. It's open in theaters, and it's open to $60 million. Now, there are some people who will look at that and go, well, 60 million's not that much. I mean, it's definitely big movie opening, but, in a world where we're looking for $100 million openings for big blockbusters and stuff like that, keep in mind that the last Jumanji movie did open to $36 million, and it went on to come just shy of the $1 billion mark. It made over $900 million. This Jumanji movie almost, not quite, almost doubled that. Almost doubled that movie's output, coming in at $60 million instead of an opening weekend of 36. That's significant. The question then becomes, does this mean that it's going to almost double what the box office was for the first Jumanji overall? And Rob, I'm going to propose that the answer to that question is no. It is not. And on top of that, I'm going to say this. I don't think this Jumanji movie is going to make as much as the last one. It's going to make a lot of money, but I don't think it's going to make $900+ million. You might say, but John, how can you say that? It just had almost double the opening. I get it. There's a couple things working against it. The first thing that's working against it is, as I said, this one isn't quite as good as the last one was. Still good, thumbs up from me. I enjoyed it very much, but not quite as much as the first one. So it has that working against it. The second thing working against it is that I think one of the things that pushed the first Jumanji movie over $900 million, and I love that movie, was the fact that it caught so many of us by surprise. It was so unexpectedly charming and so unexpectedly funny because a lot of people, including this guy, Rob, looked at that first Jumanji movie going, really?
Me too.
Really? We're doing Jumanji again? Really? And I loved it, and I think caught a lot of people by surprise. There was some stunned word of mouth going, oh my God, you got to see this. And the fact of the matter is, this time around, the element of surprise isn't there anymore. So I think the combination of, and I would love to turn out to be incorrect about this. I would love it because this is a really good, enjoyable, fun movie. I honestly don't think the fact that it's coming out before Star Wars will have anything to do with it. I really don't. I think it'll be big, but what will prevent it from being as big as the previous one is, number one, it's not quite as good. Number two, the element of surprise is gone. This isn't something new and fresh, something like we hadn't really experienced before when we saw the last one. So I'm thinking no, but I don't think it's because of Star Wars. Rob, I know you haven't had a chance to see the new Jumanji yet.
No.
But as you're seeing these numbers, big opening weekend, especially compared to the last one, do you think this Jumanji can meet or exceed the final box office results of the last Jumanji?
Well, I think all of you made some really salient points, and I tend to agree with most of what you said. I think it really depends. We're going into the Christmas season. I don't think the movie could have opened at a better time. Our viewer asked about Rise of Skywalker. I don't think that, it's kind of the same kind of audience, but all the people that saw that first Jumanji and loved it are going to turn out and go see this Jumanji as well. I don't think any other movie has an effect necessarily on Jumanji's box office. And as we move into the holiday season, school is out next weekend for the opening of Rise of Skywalker. People are going to go to both films. But that said, I think Jumanji will do very well. But again, we tend to now think, any movie can make $1 billion. Getting anywhere close to $1 billion for any movie is an enormous feat. It's an enormous accomplishment. Yeah. And I think if this movie made $600 million or $700 million, That's a big win still for this movie. Now even 800 million, people are like, oh, wow, only 800 million. It didn't come close to the first movie's. But like you had said, it's no longer novel. You know, we know what the approach is. We've understood that. And I think, sure, the second Jumanji is more of like it's comfort food. So I think it absolutely has a chance of matching the first film's success. I could see it doing that because there's more people that have seen Jumanji since the first one came out on cable or whatever. But like you said, there's a lot of choices out there. Rise of Skywalker it is kind of the same audience. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jumanji didn't make as much as the first. And if it doesn't, I don't think it's going to be at all a disappointment for the studio. I think it's going to be a big epic win no matter what. I think around the world, this movie's going to play very, very well. It's going to do a lot of business in foreign territories. And that's, if it does huge in China or something like that, it could get to make as much as the first movie, but it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't make as much.
You raise an interesting point, and this is part of film fandom today. Let's say this movie makes $600 million, which by any measurement is a huge hit, even with how much money they spent. If they made $600 million, they are laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
But you know there are going to be people in film fandom that'll go, oh, wow, what went wrong? What went wrong? Why did it flop so bad? And you know that's going to be out there. It's like, what are you talking about? The movie made $600 million. So I don't know. If it gets up to the $900 million, great. I would love to see it exceed it because I think it's a quality, fun movie. I think people are going to enjoy it. I don't think it'll match it, but it doesn't need to still be a huge success. Question here is, what are you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, just like you said, in terms of money, people think that $60 million isn't impressive. But it is impressive.
It's very impressive.
And nowadays, because we're film punditry, we're talking about these Endgame made this much money. I mean, we're talking about movies that in the entirety of human history are making over $200 million for their opening weekends. This is not the norm. This is not usual. And if a movie the first one opens at what, 38 million, and the next one opens at 60 million, that's an epic win. That's an epic win for everybody. So and worldwide, it's already up past $250 million.
So it's off to a good start. Question here is, what do you think is going to happen with Jumanji? Have you seen it, by the way? What did you think about it? How do you think it's going to do overall? Jump down to the comments section below and let me know your thoughts. All right.